This story begins with several system windows informing citizens about a series of anomalous events occurring around the world. Reports emerged of a giant abalone so immense that not even 10 people could surround it, suspected to be a mutation caused by nuclear wastewater. Giant vines began falling from the sky, making fairy tales real, while subway tracks were destroyed by abnormal Earth pulses. While others ignored the news, Fang Yi stood in front of his school, aware that the world he knew was about to turn to ashes. The school beauty, Chu Qingli, approached him with a cold expression to end their relationship before her acceptance into a top university. With a gaze that had seen the end of the world, Fang Yi agreed to the breakup without a single word of protest. Fang Yi knew that money and education would soon be worthless, as he was a man reborn from a future disaster. The night before, strange cracks in space had shown him the future, and a system informed him of an impending aura recovery. The system revealed a powerful monster with a corpse in its mouth, warning him that this would be his fate as an ordinary person. His mission was to collect materials and generate cultivation techniques to become a strong cultivator and save the world. Fang Yi checked his phone and saw a historic heat warning at Qingchang University, realizing it was an anomaly. While others thought it was a publicity stunt, Fang Yi knew this was his first opportunity to gain real power. He approached the university's north gate and touched the shimmering ashes falling from the sky, triggering a system reaction. The system detected a fluctuation in the yang attribute, and energy began to flood his body with excruciating pain. The compilation was completed, and Fang Yi acquired the Golden Sun breathing technique as his first cultivation method. Nearby, Chu Qingli arrived to register and saw the massive burst of golden energy lighting up the area. A dark figure emerged from the smoke, giving off a powerful feeling that startled everyone at the north gate. The system informed him that he had created a new technique and rewarded him with 50 script points. The next day, the university dean ordered the north gate blocked off as mysterious hooded figures investigated the scene. Fang Yi watched the disturbance from a nearby rooftop, realizing the government was already monitoring these polluted areas. He returned home and read about a cultivation association, wondering if the public still thought it was just an internet joke. Sitting on his bed, he decided to test the limits of his new technique once again. He began to float in the air, successfully shaping his energy into a divine axe that crackled with power. The system confirmed he reached the first level of the Ghost Axe realm and explained that points could enchant objects. He decided that having a powered-up weapon would be essential for fighting the monsters that were coming. Suddenly, a strange scratching noise from outside the building caught his sharp attention in the middle of the night. Outside, a dark creature with huge claws and glowing red eyes was watching his apartment from the shadows. Fang Yi went to the door and came face to face with the scary creature right there in the dark hallway. With his golden eyes, he knew his body had changed and he could now fight this beast fairly. He grabbed the monster's tail and threw it through the window, shattering the glass with immense force. He shot a beam of pure golden energy that hit the creature in mid-air, causing a massive explosion. Fang Yi stomped hard on the monster's remaining eye, crushing the last of the beast without hesitation. Meanwhile, a silver-haired girl jumping across rooftops arrived too late to catch her target. She touched the monster's remains and was startled by the intense golden heat still lingering in the air. She contacted her base, reporting that the target was taken out by a powerful new forerunner with a special ability. Her boss ordered her to stop all other missions and focus entirely on finding this mysterious master. The next morning, Fang Yi continued his training by a quiet river, adding a special quality to his new Tang sword. A huge golden beam of light shot from the blade into the sky as he tested its amazing power. Su Qingying, running toward the smoke, saw the river actually boiling from the heat he left behind. Fang Yi's journey as the sealer had truly begun, as he prepared to face the rising tide of monsters. With the solar energy coursing through his veins, Fang Yi realized that one attribute wouldn't be enough to stop the coming apocalypse. He set his sights on Mount Yuhuang, a location known in his past life to hold the purest essence of ancient thunder. Members of the Spiritual Energy Association were already monitoring the area as the sky began to fracture with purple light. Fang Yi bypassed their perimeter with ease, his movements blurred by the speed of his sun-breathing technique. At the summit, a massive lightning bolt struck an ancient stone altar, creating a vortex of pure electrical destruction. Fang Yi stepped directly into the storm, letting the divine thunder tear through his physical limits. His system chimed as a second attribute icon flickered into existence, glowing with a fierce electric blue hue. Suddenly, a distress signal from his cousin Lin Yi flashed across his mental map. In the suburbs of the city, Lin Yi was backed into a corner by a massive pulsing mutated vine. The vine dripped with acidic sap, melting the pavement as it prepared to strike. A thunderclap echoed through the street as a streak of blue lightning descended from the heavens. Fang Yi extended his hand, unleashing a combined wave of solar heat and electrical discharge. The mutated plant shriveled into ash within seconds, leaving Lin Yi staring in awe at her protector. A military reconnaissance unit witnessed the entire event from a nearby rooftop. Their commander whispered the name Tyrant into his radio, marking Fang Yi as a person of extreme interest. But the celebration was short-lived as the ground beneath Taishi City began to tremble violently. Civil defense sirens wailed as a massive rift opened in the center of the stadium. People fled in terror as the ES-class Anomaly King's massive hand gripped the edge of the portal. The beast rose, standing taller than the surrounding floodlights, its presence crushing the willpower of the soldiers. Fang Yi arrived at the stadium gate, his dual auras flaring like a localized sun. He looked up at the Titan, unfazed by its paralyzing aura of death. The Anomaly King swung a massive limb, obliterating the concrete stands in a single blow. Fang Yi leaped high into the air, dancing between the falling shards of rock with supernatural grace. He summoned a blade of pure condensed solar fire and sliced through the monster's reaching tentacles. The beast shrieked in a frequency that shattered every window within a 5-mile radius. Fang Yi realized the core of the anomaly was protected by a thick layer of spiritual armor. He began to channel both the sun and thunder attributes simultaneously, a feat never before recorded. The air around him began to crackle and burn as the two opposing forces fought for dominance. With a roar of effort, he merged the energies into a single devastating spear of light. "Seal the void," he shouted, launching the weapon directly at the king's chest. The impact created a shockwave that flattened the surrounding trees and sent the military vehicles tumbling. As the light faded, the S-class Anomaly King began to disintegrate into harmless black dust. A heavy silence fell over the city as the threat was neutralized in a matter of minutes. Thousands of citizens watching from their windows began to chant a single title, the Sealer. High-ranking officials from the Spiritual Energy Association descended from helicopters to meet the hero. They offered him a position of power, recognizing that his strength surpassed any known rank. Fang Yi looked at the horizon, knowing that this victory was only a precursor to much darker events. He knew the void domains were opening across the globe, and the ancient thrones were waiting for a master. With his new reputation, he began to gather resources to build a fortress that could withstand the dark tides. However, deep in the shadows of the capital, a mysterious organization watched his every move through a crystal ball. "The Sealer is a variable we did not account for," a voice rasped from the darkness. They prepared to activate a dormant curse that would turn his own power against those he sought to protect. Back at the headquarters, Fang Yi felt a sudden sharp chill crawl up his spine. The divine thunder in his body flickered with a strange, dark static that he couldn't control. Reports flooded in, the most dangerous void domain yet had just appeared over the UA city skyline. Fang Yi stood up, his eyes flashing with a mix of golden sun and corrupted thunder. Little did he know, the King of Death was already waiting for him within the void's core. Fang Yi stepped into the pulsating heart of the void where the King of Death awaited his arrival. The King of Death unleashed a wave of necro energy that withered the very air around them. Fang Yi summoned the Golden Sun breathing technique to shield himself from the decaying aura. He noticed a set of ancient artifacts floating behind the skeletal king, glowing with a primordial light. With a roar, Fang Yi lunged forward, his black sword trailing lines of golden fire. The King of Death parried the strike, but the collision shattered the surrounding spatial barriers. Sensing a shift in the battle, Fang Yi activated the Divine Thunder attribute to paralyze his foe. The lightning surged through the King of Death, forcing the entity to collapse into a pile of shadow. Fang Yi walked toward the floating ancient god-demon armor that pulsated with a heavy sentient weight. He touched the cold surface of the armor, allowing his spiritual energy to bond with its ancient consciousness. The armor disassembled itself and latched onto Fang Yi's body, granting him the power of a fallen deity. With the armor equipped, he claimed the three ancient thrones, consolidating his rule over the void. He returned to the mortal world, specifically Ue City, where a sentient dark intelligence was consuming the population. The dark intelligence took the form of 1,000 eyes, watching Fang Yi's every move from the city walls. Fang Yi closed his eyes, focusing his dual attributes of sun and thunder into a single point of collapse. He unleashed a Nova Strike that vaporized the dark intelligence in a matter of seconds. The citizens of Ua City cheered as the sun finally broke through the artificial gloom. News of his victory reached the capital, and the SEA nation leaders convened an emergency summit. They officially appointed Fang Yi as the supreme commander of all spiritual and military forces. Fang Yi stood before the assembly, his gaze fixed on the map of the world's remaining anomaly zones. However, a sudden report indicated that the Thunder Throne at Mount Yu Huang was acting erratically. A shadow organization had infiltrated the peak, using a forbidden ritual to corrupt the throne's core. Fang Yi realized this was a betrayal from within the Spiritual Energy Association itself. He flew toward the mountain at supersonic speeds, leaving a trail of fire in his wake. Upon arrival, he was met by a barrage of dark thunderbolts launched by the Berserk Throne. The leader of the Shadow Organization stepped forward, revealing himself as a former mentor. "The world needs a god of chaos, not a sealer," the traitor shouted over the storm. Fang Yi didn't waste words, instead focusing his energy to commune with the true spirit of the Thunder Throne. The corruption tried to enter his mind, showing him visions of the failed future timeline he had escaped. He pushed through the trauma, his resolve hardening into an unbreakable diamond of spiritual will. He channeled the Golden Sun's purity into the throne, bleaching the darkness out of the ancient stone. The traitors screamed as their source of power was purified, leaving them defenseless against the coming storm. Fang Yi commanded the reclaimed Thunder Throne to bind the traitors in chains of celestial lightning. With the internal threat neutralized, the spiritual energy of the world finally stabilized into a peaceful rhythm. Fang Yi looked out from the mountain peak, knowing that the era of chaos was finally over. He had successfully rewritten the dark future he once called home, replacing it with a world of hope. As Supreme Commander, he began the work of rebuilding society into a union of man and spirit. He visited his cousin Lin Yi, seeing her training the next generation of protectors with the same fire he once had. The system finally chimed in his mind, confirming that the ultimate quest for planetary stability was complete. Fang Yi stood atop the highest tower of the capital, a legendary figure who had truly become the master of his own fate.